Hello there, Juan Gracia, and I wanted to share my experience getting a remote job. Hopefully, my story and my tips are something that you can find useful so you can land your dream remote job. Maybe you're working currently on site or you're currently at a remote job that you don't like and you're finding a hard time finding a new one. So maybe this little experience, little story helps you a little bit. So I just want to let you know a little bit about myself, a little bit about my background. I'm an accountant, and I was already 26. No, no, no. I was 27. I've been working since 20 in the accounting space and all over the place, public and private accounting, doing all kind of stuff. Um, I wanted to move remotely as many people, and as remote work pick it up after the pandemic, it was something that I saw as very possible, especially in accounting. I mean, it's something, if there's any job that immediately I can think that it could be done remotely, it's definitely accounting. Like, there's absolutely no reason why we have to be in the office, unless you're something related to cost accounting or you have to check inventory. But even then, it's not on a daily basis. Unless you're doing maybe for retail, like checking cash and stuff like that. But even then, I don't think you have to be the whole day over there. But anyways, here's a little bit of perspective of how everything went out. Everything played out for me. I was working at a pharmacy as both bookkeeper and helping with websites, building websites on WordPress, which is something I already knew how to do because of previous efforts of building a business. Um, so I knew how to develop websites and I knew how to do accounting. There was a very small company, so you wear multiple hats usually in this case, which was my case. And I was very underpaid, as with many small mom and pop shops. Um, so I figured, well, I want to get a new job, but I don't want to be in an office anymore. I want to do everything I can to get a remote job and be at home. Um, so I figured the very first thing that I needed to do after looking at a lot of Indeed job posts and started to do a couple of interviews and also asking on Reddit, the very first thing that I realized, I don't have the hardware or the technology at home that most remote jobs require. Most remote jobs will require me to have a computer with Intel Core 3 at least, not too old, but not necessarily the most recent one, depending on the type of job that you're looking for. Probably if you're a video editor or photographer, or you edit photograph pictures or something like that, you're gonna need a better computer, more intensive demands. But for the most part, for most remote jobs like call centers, creative agencies, accountants, software engineers, for the most part, Intel Core 3 minimum, and 8 gigabytes of RAM, so you can install software that has decently smooth workflow, because honestly 4 gigabytes of RAM get you nowhere. So that was the first thing, and I have a very budget laptop because I had a very old laptop that I bought in 2018, but it was like the minimum thing. It was Intel Celeron, so super slow, and 4 gigabytes of RAM. It will take me nowhere. So I knew I had to buy something, but something decent. I bought a used PC, which is like what I currently use. 8 gigabytes of RAM, Intel Core 5 of 6th generation, I think. So it's fairly decent, it's fairly fast. And once I bought that, which honestly cost me like 3 months of savings because my salary was that bad, but fortunately I was able to get this deal for like $150 because it's a used PC. Um, I was able to get this PC, and now it was time to prepare for interviews, and I started to interview. I got my headset and a very cheap webcam. I think it was $30. Don't remember if I bought it on Best Buy or on Walmart, but it's $30. It's super cheap. It's not really good quality, but it's all you need. Like that's all you need, really, unless you're meeting with clients, or unless the job requires you to have a better webcam. But webcams are not that expensive to get a decent one, and you can always use your phone. um, so yeah, after this, I started to interview, and I realized that the interview process was very similar to what I will get in on-site jobs. It will be a 3 interview process. First interview will be with human resources or the recruiters that were working with the company. Second interview would be with somebody in the team where you will be working. In my case, it will be somebody from the accounting or finance team, maybe the accounting manager, and or a senior accountant. And the last interview would be, that second interview will be very technical. And prior to the interview, a lot of times they will ask me to do a test. It will be a technical test or psychometrics test. Some businesses, including the one where I ended up working for, Landerholm, they ask you to record a bit of yourself, talking about your experience and why you want to work with them. Maybe to get an idea of who you are and your personality a little bit. But that was all. That was always prior to the second interview, and then you will have that. If you were selected, you will be having a third interview with the CEO or founder of the company, which was the case for the company that I work for, and which was the case for all the companies that I went to that I went ahead with the interview process. And after that, they will let you know the proposal and everything of that, and let you know that okay, this is the date that you can start if you say yes. So that was pretty standard. I think it's pretty much the same for all jobs. As I said, the only thing that might be different is you will have to create a video of yourself, and other companies will have a more extensive test. Maybe during the second interview, it will be more technical. You will have to share your screen and do some stuff in Excel or do some stuff on QuickBooks, something like that. It was only once that I had to do that. But yeah, it was the way I was getting jobs. Honestly, was only via Indeed, and for the most part, I didn't wrote cover letters. I didn't did anything special. I once tried to write a PDF, 8 pages PDF for accounting. Uh, I don't know, like a tips of things that I gather knowledge that I figure it will help me, but it never helped me because people will think that I downloaded from the internet and they will ask me questions about it. So I was like, I wrote this so you don't have to ask questions and we can save some time. So it wasn't worth it. So for the most part, what helped me was my CV because I did had experience, even though I didn't have remote experience necessarily. And that's about it. I couldn't tell you any magic tricks. I wasn't applying to that many jobs. Honestly, I was only applying to 3 to 4 jobs, or I was doing 3 to 4 interviews at the same time. So it was never that many. One thing that I did that will maybe set me apart from the rest of the participants would be that okay, this is a story that I actually have to tell. The first job that I landed actually was with a real estate investor company from Sacramento, California, I believe. And I landed the job, and after the day I start, they let me know that the benefits and the salary that they included on the job post was actually not entirely accurate, and that will actually kick in after 3 months of trial period, which understandable. But a lot of the benefits will kick in until a year. Before that, I will be paying like once a month via Stripe, and the salary was not that big and all that stuff. So I kind of felt deceived. And on top of it, the culture was very controlling. Like I can understand that it's people that you have never met in person, you might never meet in person, but they were very control freaks, like micromanagement. They required me to have my camera on all the time and be on a Google Meet where everyone else was, including the CEO. I was required to write on the chat every time I would go to the restroom or every time I would step away from my computer, which is weird because it wasn't a call center, it was an accounting. I didn't have any touch with anyone else. It was like just record the transactions and that's about it, and give us reports like weekly and monthly basis. It was weird. If it was a call center, that's kind of more understandable. If I was a virtual assistant or something that has to pick up the phone, I will be understandable. But for an accountant, I really understood what was the point other than just controlling. I had a solver on my computer that would take screenshots randomly through the days to make sure that I was working. And I immediately felt, this is not the place where I belong. If you don't trust me, please don't work with me. And I know that trust is hard to build, especially with working with somebody you have never met. But for the most part, we did the interview process for a reason, and you should have figure it out if you can trust me a little bit, or you're gonna take a bet, or not, or at least that's the way it works for me. I don't know. I just don't like it. It's not how I work. You're not gonna get the best of me, and it's gonna be bad for both of us. So the second day, I let them know, hey, this is not gonna work for me. This is very overwhelming for me. This is not. I understand where you're coming from, but please understand it doesn't fit me. This is not what I pictured when I wanted a remote job. This is worse than working on site. So at the third day, I left by midday. We agreed to part ways, and they thanked me. I wasted their time, and they wasted mine. And after that, I was very wary of the interviews that I was going. I went from being a yes man and saying to yes and everything around the interview just because I wanted to land a job, to be very cautious. And from the very first interview with HR or the recruiters, tell them, okay, if you are micromanaging, if you're controlling, if you don't trust me that I'm working, unless you see me working, you have to spy me or do something like that because you don't know if I'm working or not. We are not a fit for each other. I don't want to waste any more of your time, and I don't want to waste any more of my time. And I started to be very pronounced about that. And I thought the people give me the middle finger and told me to go F myself, or at the very least think that I was very unprofessional. And the exact opposite thing started to happen. I don't know if it's human psychology that when you're a yes man, you come up as needy, and humans don't really respond well to neediness, and we respond more to somebody who sets boundaries and have standards, and that actually started to play very well for me. All the companies were being. I was able to rule out a couple of companies that told me, yeah, that's pretty much how we are. That's how we do it. And I thank them for being honest, and we stopped the interview process at the time. But for the most part, what companies would do is they will thank me about it, and they will explore a little bit more why I came with those thoughts, and I will explain a little bit more about being more interested in efficiency and being more oriented results. And yeah, they started to respect me a lot, and I think that made me stand out a lot because I saw that my success rate to moving to the next interview was way higher, if not perfect or almost perfect. So that was kind of interesting. Um, but yeah, that's how I landed my job. I let them know the same thing, and these people tell me when they were interviewing me that, oh, that's actually great because we're actually more focused on efficiency and finding ways to do more by doing less. And I was like, yes, this is the place. But yeah, I started to find more companies like that, and at the end, I had 3 job proposals, including the one that I ended up taking. And that's about it. I had a lot of luck and a lot of success by just being myself. I guess that humans also perform better when we are relief of stress, maybe. And I will just tell myself, if I get it, great. If I don't, nah, whatever. I'll find something else. And that was weird because I really needed a job because I was miserable at my previous job. But that's kind of funny that I took that mindset that I have nothing to lose. And because of that, I was more relaxed, more focused. And I came off more, I don't know, authentic, which is important when you are dealing with somebody via a camera and you're never going to meet them. That was kind of interesting for me. So those are the things that worked for me, to not apply to that many jobs, only apply for the ones that I knew I was qualified or I could learn. Because honestly, that's another last thing that I want to touch on. I wasn't entirely qualified for most of the jobs that I applied. For the most part, I was qualified like 70-80% of the job posting, the things that they requested. And I will even say that when I applied for a job, like, hey, I don't know how to do this and this point, or hey, you know what, I kind of understand that. I have read about it, but I honestly have never done it in practice, just so you know what to expect from me. So yeah, even then, I guess that it's just being a little bit relaxed. It's, just try to come out authentic. Let them know what you don't want, what you're not looking for, or what will make you not a match for each other. And that will take you very far. It's very weird how humans work, but that's pretty much it. And hopefully this information you'll find it useful, and you can find that remote job that you're looking for and have that flexibility and have that time, because honestly, it's been the very best decision that I could ever taken. Being able to be at home, not having to drive, not having to do a commute, not being late, not being on a rush. So it's just beautiful being able to eat at my home, work all day, and seeing my dog, playing with him anytime I go to the kitchen to drink some water. That's just beautiful, and I wouldn't change this for anything. I don't think I can ever work again on a normal job in a normal office. So yeah, totally recommendable. Wish you tons of luck, and go out there and gain it.